Good morning. It's time once again for the House Whisperer Show on WWDB Talk 860. I'm Barry Reisman, inviting you to stay tuned for expert advice about maintaining your house from the roof to the basement and everything in between, featuring professional home inspector Jack Milne, who tells us that every house has a story. Hey, Jack, it's a great way to start Sunday morning by getting some great information from you, and glad to have you back on the air today.
Well, thank you, Barry. I truly enjoy, spending time and trying to share some of the information that I come across with my listeners. So I thank DB for that opportunity as well. As you all know, I love reading the news, and preferably the newspaper over what I call the talking heads on TV. Newspapers, write, or newspaper writers really don't have what I call a particular slant, like being too Republican, too Democrat, or too liberal, or too conservative, or whatever. I find that the paper writers tend to be honest. They do their homework, and I think they provide great information. So today's segment is the news that the House Whisperer wants to pass along to you, and I want to put out my kudos to the writers from the Inquirer, the New York Times, even Huffington News, and that's where I grabbed some of this information from. So before I kick in, I want to thank the sponsors, because without them I wouldn't be able to chat with you today. So Burrow Exterminator from Glenolden, Pennsylvania, they're very good at termite evaluations and radon testing. And folks, take a look around for those swarms now. This is their time. May is their time to come out from the ground and let their presence be known. So if all of a sudden you're finding thousands of body parts or wings, folks, you may have termites. So reach out to them at 610-586-5640, and their website is burrowexterminating.com. Bucks Mountain Inspections, if you have a home with an on-site sewage system and all of a sudden you cut the lawn and you're stepping in goo, chances are you might want to give these folks a buzz. They're at 215-669-4213, and their website is bucksmountaininspections.com. Pest Blaster, again, we're destroying insect evaluations, pest removal. If you're hearing the scampering at night as you lay awake in bed, chances are you might have a critter in your attic. And God bless these guys, because they can take care of that. But they also do radon testing and mold testing. So their phone number is 215-295-5555. BrainFleshGear.com, as I mentioned last week. I got our shirts for our forthcoming trip to Maine. And they just came out awesome. So anything that you want that's different, bit eclectic, make it your own. It's for a group, it's for a function, whatever. Go to brainfleshgear.com or email them at contact@brainfleshgear.com. And finally, Tri-County Inspection Company. It's a company I started back in 1985. We're celebrating our 30th year and can't wait to blow the candles off on July 12th. We serve 15 counties. Our website is awesome. You can visit it at tcinspect.com. In a few weeks, I'd like to have Bill Kibble come on. A few weeks ago, I talked about the trials and tribulations of being a home inspector. I want to bring Bill Kibble, my senior inspector, on, and he's got some good stories to tell, too. So 215-295-2030 for the Bucks and Montgomery County areas, the Lehigh Valley, 610-346-7880, Delaware County, 610-296-2004, and New Jersey, 856-853-4224. So, again, please let them know that you heard their ad on the House Whisperer Show, and I know that's always appreciated from the sponsors. So I'm going to forgo the email box today, because I think the information from the different topics I'm offering may take off some of the time that I have. So I'm going to bring it back next week. But please, if you have any questions, please forward them to me at the House Whisperer Show at gmail.com. Of course, previous shows, please seek out the housewhisperershow.com. And for all the folks at WWDB, which allows the show to be podcast 24/7, you can dial that one in at www.dbam.com. So listen in. So let's get started. First off, and I find this a little bit surprising, but that's why I bring it to the forefront. The title of the article, Home Ownership Hits New Low Mark. So the U.S. home ownership rate fell to the lowest level in more than 2 decades. extending a multi-year decline as rising prices and stagnant wages keep young families out of the property buying market. The share of Americans who own their home was 63.7% in the first quarter, down from 64% in the prior 3 months. Now, entry-level buyers are struggling to save enough money to purchase homes as gains in the U.S. real estate prices outstrip increases in wages, while mortgage lending remains tight. So the number one issue in the housing market right now is wages. So without wage increases, it's hard for the younger generation to put enough money down, even at 3% or 5%, to buy property. So I thought that was a very interesting way to start our discussion today, especially being a home inspector. The second thing I wanted to talk about is propane. With more homes switching from oil to propane, there's a website, usepropane.com. Again, usepropane.com has a great flyer about what to do if you smell gas, as it smells like rotten eggs. They encourage the use of propane gas detectors if you run out of propane. And carbon monoxide detectors, of course, or some of the other items where you want to make sure you have these precautions to take. The brochure also talks about lighting pilots, appliance maintenance, and understanding the risks associated with liquid propane. I ask again that you visit the website. Again, it's simple, usepropane.com. If you use propane for heating, hot water, cooking, clothes drying, and again, I think a little information can save your life and family. The third concept that I came up with was actually from Barry, my manager at WWDB. Hey, Barry.
Yeah, I'm here.
He forwarded me an article called The Scam of the Month. Don't get nailed by a contractor. So the 5 red flags were brought to light about scams. Number 1, you ever have somebody knock on the door and just say, hey, just happen to be in the area. I got a little bit of extra material on the truck and it's here just for you. Or how about number 2, the deal is only as good today. And will we only apply the special offer if you agree today? Okay, so how many have been through that one?
I just had it last week. Somebody knocked on the door, rang the bell, and said we're working in the neighborhood and we're putting up new roofs, and would you like to have one? So it happens to me pretty often. Yeah,
so it's really important that you kind of sit back and think about it and don't rush. Here's number 3. You have to pay up front big deposits. And guess what? You don't get any revisit to do the job. That happened to my neighbor right here in Morrisville. They gave him a deposit. He said he was going to start the landscaping, and then 3 to 4 weeks later, she actually asked for her money back. Number 4, he lacks professionalism. He's hard to reach. There's no address. There's no Better Business referral. So you always want to check on the professionalism. Number 5, You're told that your safety is at risk. He creates a sense of urgency so that you make immediate repairs or your family's health is at stake. At the end of the day, I've always stated, get referrals, see what others are saying, check credentials, know your rights, and finally, get everything in writing. I think that's important. So the next topic I want to talk about is an article I read called The Great City of Philadelphia. Okay. Now, a few facts. The growth of the core of the city, from the Schuylkill to the Delaware River, and from Callow Hill north and south and Pine Streets, has grown over 26% from the year 2000. They've extended Center City from now Girard Avenue to the north to Callow Hill Street, and from the south, from South Street to Tasker Street. Now, both these areas have grown since 11% since 2000. Educational attainment in Philadelphia has had a greater share of bachelor's degrees and advanced college degrees in both the core of the city, being 76%, and 57% in the greater center city. So private sector jobs, however, has dropped a minus 6.8%, while other cities like New York are up 19%, Boston's 15%, Washington, D.C. is up 14%. So we're going to talk about these numbers when we come back from our commercial break.
Okay, and Jack, we'll be back right after this, and we're talking about what's in the news for spring 2015. And as some people in our news department here like to say, if it happens in Philadelphia, it's news to us. We'll be right back after this.
Boro Exterminating has been specializing in wood-destroying insect inspection and control for over 40 years, serving Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. All inspectors are state certified and ensure providing their clients with professional inspections and treatments. Boro not only performs conventional termite treatments, but also handles special services like historic buildings and homes with wells, creeks, or ponds. The client is assured that all treatments will be performed safely when you hire Boro to do the work. They also provide radon testing in their service area. Boro's full-time office staff is available to help you schedule an appointment. Just call 610-586-5640 or send an email request to boroinspects@verizon.net. That's 610-586-5640 or email at boroinspects@verizon.net.
Specially created t-shirts by BrainFlushGear.com offer the extreme sports enthusiast an opportunity to have a clothing line available that suits their sport. BrainFlushGear.com understands that when we get the moment where we can jump on our motorcycles, wave runners, surfboards, snowmobiles, or skateboards, it can be priceless. They offer custom artwork including silk screening, transfers, and embroidery. Speak to one of their consultants today and they'll help you create your own Brain Flush. Visit BrainFlushGear.com or email them at contact@BrainFlushGear.com.
For your septic inspection and testing needs, please consider Bucksmont Inspections. They've been serving the Bucks and Montgomery County areas for over 15 years. As members of the Pennsylvania Septic Management Association, the Pennsylvania Association of Sewage Enforcement Officers, and the Pennsylvania Association for Professional Soil Scientists, Bucksmont Inspections can inspect your existing septic system or test for your new septic system placement. Please call Rob Bowie at 215-669-4213 and say you heard their ad on the House Whisperers show.
Tri-County Inspection Company has been providing professional home inspections, commercial inspections, and historic property evaluations for over 30 years. For all of your real estate transactions, call Tri-County Inspections at 215-295-2030. For their New Jersey clientele, call 856-853-4224. Tri-County Inspection Company covers 13 counties, serving both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They have performed inspections for over 70,000 clients and are members of the American Society of Home Inspectors, as well as the Pennsylvania Home Inspectors Coalition. They are licensed in both Philadelphia and New Jersey. Call 215-295-2030 or 856-853-4224.
As the weather gets cooler and the temperatures drop, the bugs might slow down, but the rodents don't stop. Mice and rats begin to invade homes during the fall and winter months, looking for food, warmth, and a comfortable place to nest. Don't wait for pesky rodents to invade your home. Fight back. Have your home baited and ready for their attack with Pest Blaster. Whether preventative or a full-blown infestation, give Pest Blaster a call at 215-295-5555 and they can discuss the solution to your problem. They also offer humane animal removal services for a wide variety of wild animals, damage repairs, and cleanups. Call them today at 215-295-5555 or check them out at pestblaster.com. servicing both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Pest Blaster, 215-295-5555 or pestblaster.com for all your pest control needs.
Our house is a very, very, very fine house.
Okay, we're back with Jack Milne, the House Whisperer, here at WWDB, talking about what's in the news for spring of 2015. And Jack, you have your newsman's hat on and back on the air.
Well, thank you, Barry, very much. And just as a little bit of a blast from the past, I'm an avid newspaper reader. I love to sit down at night, put the music on, keep the TV off, and see what's going on around me because I think it affects what I do as a career path, being a home inspector. But at the same time, the livelihoods of people who are buying and selling real estate and moving into these homes and the houses that they've purchased. So before the commercial break, we talked about we're hearing a new term called the Great City of Philadelphia. I think we think of the core of Philadelphia as, again, South Street to Callow Hill and from the river to the Schuylkill. But now I think maybe the city's starting to think about like New York, where they're spreading out to the boroughs. And the other night, again, I was reading about those people who are now in the greater section of Philadelphia, again, the Tasker Streets and up to Girard Avenue, aren't feeling the overflow of emotion. They're almost feeling like, yes, we're part of the city, but no, we're really not, because we don't get the benefits in these outstretching areas that the people in the core do. And I think one of the biggest reasons is we still have blight in these outer portions of the city. We have empty homes. We have drug rehab facilities. We have drugs being sold on the street. We still have the crime. So the merchants are saying, then if we're supposed to be part of this greater entity, then help protect us and help rejuvenate us, help lower the business wage tax, help lower the business property taxes. Let's bring people back to the city that are offering jobs, because as I said before the commercial break, all the major cities have seen 19% job increase in New York, 15% of Boston, 14% of D.C., but Philadelphia has lost almost 7% of their working capital. And so we have these young people who are moving into the city, but they're moving out of the city because of the educational system. We have the older folks who have retired coming back to the city that want to enjoy the nightlife, but at the same time, they're really not offering anything back to the job force. So if we can create, and hopefully with a new mayor, an opportunity for business growth, hey, at the same time, it's going to end up as a vicious cycle to bring more people into the city to work for a higher wage. So I'm not running for mayor, though, folks. Let's do the Wayback Machine, or maybe this counts for you folks. If you just graduated college and you're in your mid-20s, there is a lot of excitement in town. You've got from Conshohocken to the west, to South Street, to Fishtown, to Northern Liberties, to Manayunk, and Roxborough. And these have really become the havens for our next greatest generation. At the same time, like I just said, empty nesters are moving back from the burbs. There's been a 30% increase in restaurants, and of course we have the opera, we have the casinos, we have the sports venue, the concert venues. The Fillmore East is going to open right by the Sugar House, I just read. We've got playhouses, and all are allowing those who want to relax after retirement or kids who want to have fun again to go out and enjoy the city. The empty nesters may only bring one car to the city, or maybe no vehicle at all. So with the Market East, that is going to be rejuvenated, the House of Blues coming, Philly Live, the comedy clubs, they're all drawing people of all ages to the city. But, how many former warehouses and empty buildings have you seen that are becoming lofts or condos? And believe me, folks, I'm inspecting them for my clients of all ages and incomes. So two things, though, I feel can burst this beautiful bubble. Number one, again, Center City's job market is weak. and the underfunded school systems stink. I have better words for it, but I can't use them on the air.
Yep.
The double income, no children, or the DINK, they're getting married in the city, but once that baby bump starts, the couple moves to the burbs, and unless they have a strong enough stable income for one parent to work and one parent to help raise the child, they're going to have to leave the city, because otherwise they may not be able to afford private schools. And in the past, folks, I've talked about migration patterns. And the other day I did a young couple who bought a house in Ambler, and I inspected a house for them about 6 years ago in Manayunk. And so I couldn't believe talking to this young man and young lady who are in their mid-20s now, who have a nice young son by the name of Parker, are moving to the burbs from Manayunk. And they wanted that lawn, they wanted the neighborhood, and they wanted the schools. So now, they went and grew up, and instead of being in an area that all the kids carry red cups, they wanted a place that they could take their child on for Halloween. So again, the structure of the city needs to change a little bit. If you're the entrepreneur and looking to rent square footage in Philadelphia, the going rate roughly right now is $27 a square foot, and it's cheap. But and that does allow to get you started compared to, say, Manhattan, which is $75 a square foot. Boston, wow. Yeah, $47 a square foot. Washington, D.C., $51 a square foot. So Philly's coming across pretty cheap. But to give you an idea, my small building in Marsville, I'm getting more than $20 a square foot. So here you've got this, not quite a metropolis, but you've got a large city that has a lot to draw from, but it seems that they can't get occupancy because of their business tax programs. That still floors me. In other news, last week I talked about millennials, which are at this point 80 million strong. And they're the age group from 20 to 34 on how to maintain their homes. The other things I've learned is that they are the only current generation, or I should say U.S. generation, because that's even broader, that has a negative savings rate as their debt exceeds their total income and total savings. That's why it's hard for them to buy homes. Their understanding of the financial health as well as and well-being is also seriously lacking. So with a slower hiring rate, loss of income, even if they did graduate from college, it makes them difficult to buy a home. So this computer generation finds almost every want and need on different search engines, but may not be aware of other charges that may come with buying a home. And these include, but not limited to, closing costs, taxes, condo, or what we call other user fees, and I can't stress enough, student loans. And that becomes a large part of your mortgage application now. And this saddens me, but it's the truth. On average, a student has over $30,000 in student loans. And that's all students, okay? So some students may have none, some may have 60, that average is 30. So if you really want to get out of the rental drain, you have to think about, do you have enough to purchase that townhouse or that condo or the single-family home? And if you do, I ask that you get pre-approved. One of my son's friends thought he was ready to go until he went for his pre-approval rate, and he decided to sit back for a year because he had to save more money. So, don't jump into the market until you know what you can afford, and I think that's very, very, very important. Closing costs. can range up to anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000. Sometimes you get what's called seller assist, which will help you with your closing costs. But again, it's kind of like last week's show. You have to plan, and you have to be ready to go. And again, it's not only buying the house, but it's the maintenance of the home. And keep in mind that we've heard this term in the past. You get nickel and dimed, for this, nickel and dime for that. But nickels, folks, are $50 and dimes are $100. So it's not like you're buying a brand new car that's under warranty. You may be buying a pre-owned home that has maybe no warranty. But like any home and like any vehicle, it will require maintenance with time. So I feel that a good realtor can help you set up a game plan. And again, you might have to wait another year to buy that piece of the American dream, but I ask that you be fully prepared. When I bought my home, and being a business owner, I built my first home, folks. I was able to put 30% down from that sale, from that home, and there were a few things I wanted. I wanted a 15-year loan instead of a 30-year loan. I wanted no prepayment penalties, and again, I felt like if I was putting a third down, I was doing pretty good. But it took me 4 mortgage lenders to finally write me. So there were 3 that says, Jack, we can't do it. We have other programs, and I just turned around and said, well, then I'm done. The note at the time, in 1987, for 15 years, was 8.75%. And you know what, folks? That was a steal. At that point, I was 31 years old, and I had my mortgage paid off by the time I was 46. Folks, read the paper. Don't always trust what you see on the internet or particularly on TV. Find out through local writers what's going in your own backyard. They will help you make prudent decisions. As it is Sunday, please spend time with friends and family, and I'll talk to you next week on the House Whisperer Show.
All right, and tune in again next week for another edition of the House Whisperer Show with professional home inspector Jack Milne. And to listen to previous programs, or if you have any questions, visit thehousewhisperershow.com. I'm Barry Reisman. Thank you for listening to WWDB.